How's it going, YouTube? My name's LBNinja7, your resident Mistweaver Monk and favorite healing WoW content creator. And guys, you have been asking me for so long to make a video like this one, but what we're going to be doing today is making a full in-depth walkthrough of how to set up a UI for a healer. Now, you might know how to operate and how to use some of the add-ons that we're going to be talking about, but I'll make sure and put chapters in the video, so make sure and scan through and just jump to the part where you need to learn. But what I'm going to be doing in today's video is I have already made like a Weakauras set. You see it on the screen right here. I already have this pre-made. I already have profiles all available for you guys to download. So we're going to use those as launching points, but that's not the point of this video. I'm not just going to say, hey, download my stuff. I want to show you how I kind of made it, or at least if I didn't make it, like for example, my Plater profile, I did not make that. I just copied it from another YouTuber. I just downloaded their profile. I'm going to show you how to adjust it and make tweaks so we can use what I've made or what other YouTubers have made as a launching point. Or I'm going to teach you the building blocks of how to make like a Weakauras set like this one. How did I go about making this? That way you guys can start from scratch and make your own. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about a couple different add-ons. Now, this might be a longer video. I'll try to talk fast and try to be still as good at explaining as I can. But the add-ons that we're going to be talking about are OmniCD. It's very good for healers. It allows you to see your spells or your allies' spells and track different spells that your allies have. It's great for healers. Absolutely a must-have if you want to look at any serious healing keys. Next up is Plater. This one's less must-have. This just allows you to kind of change or customize your enemy's health bars, but there are some very good tools that come from this add-on, and I don't know how I survived as long as I did without either of these add-ons, but both of these give you information as the healer that make it easier to do your job. So Plater, OmniCD. Then we're going to talk about Clique and Grid 2. Both of these honestly, these are just like big UI adjustments. So Grid 2 is what allows me to see my allies' health bars in an easier to read fashion, but also it allows me to track like my spells, my hots or buffs on allies. You see here, I can see I have all these hots and the timers of them. Makes it very easy to display. And then Click just means that instead of having to click on one of my health bars and then cast a heal spell, I can just hover my mouse over them and apply those buffs. Instead of having to click on them, it really makes it easier to jump between different targets and heal multiple people in quick succession. That way you're not always click, cast a spell, click, cast a spell, click, cast a spell. So Click is very good. However, I know that there are a lot of people out there that use other add-ons in their place. This is just what I use as a nameplate, or how to see my allies' nameplates and make it easier to heal. However, you could just as easily, instead of using Grid 2 and Click, you could just as easily use like Elf UI is another very big popular one. Voodoo is another popular one. I know people use Healbots. I don't really know what that one does, but those also work. I'm just, for the sake of this video, just going to be teaching or showing you guys how to use Grid 2 and Click. And then finally, we're going to wrap things up with Weakauras, which is probably the most requested one. Now, I am only going to show you the basics, not how all the, top mythic world first raiders make some sick Weakauras. We're just going to show you how to make a good UI Weakaura and just show you the basics of it. But let's go ahead and kick things off with OmniCD. Now, you can't see it actually working right now, but if I remember, I'll put some footage of a dungeon over right now, and you can see that I am tracking the spells that my allies have, or at least their cooldowns. Now, this information is so important for you as the healer to have, because it's so good to know like how safe is your tank right now. Does your tank have their cheat death? Like, does your Death Knight have your purgatory available? Does this ally have a defensive, or should I put one of my externals like Life Cocoon or Pain Suppression on them? It's very good for you to be able to predict damage, and using OmniCD is a great way to do so, because you'll see how much damage your allies are going to take based on what cooldowns they have. It's also very useful if you ever play like an augmentation evoker or a priest, because you'll know when to, supplement them, when to give them PI because they pop their big cooldown, or when to buff them as an augmentation evoker, for example, or which 2 DPS you should be buffing with your whatever your spell's called. I can't even think of it. But let's go and open up the OmniCD menu, and I will have my I just typed that. I will have my OmniCD profile available for you guys to download. And how you get it, which by the way, first you download the add-on OmniCD, and then you can join my Discord, which there's a link to my Discord. Everything is free. I know some people put like paywalls behind their Discord and stuff. Everything in my Discord is free. It's just for you to download. You can download it, get all the UI, and then literally leave the Discord if you want to. But so once you join my Discord, which there is a link in the description below, you can come here to my Discord and go to the channel My UI. My face is blocking it, but it's right under here, under my Patreon one, My UI. And here I have basically every little starting point that we're going to be talking about today available for you guys. Now, most of them are Weakauras, because Weakauras can do like almost anything in the game. But you'll see here I have my profiles. And unfortunately, I don't have my OmniCD profile here for the video, but by the time that I upload this video, I will add my OmniCD profile here. But basically what you do is pretend like this said OmniCD profile. You'd click on the paste bin link, and it'll open you up to just like a long string of text. You're just going to copy all of this text. I promise, I'm doing it live on screen. Some people think that I'm trying to hack them. I am not, I promise. You copy this long string of text, and you're going to paste it in the game where it says profile. So you click profile, and you can import my profile as a starting point for you guys. So new, we just, or you paste what we just copied, you click OK, and then boom, it will just auto load my profile. Okay, so let's pretend like you just did that. You just imported my profile, or maybe you have one of your own. You don't really know how to use it. Well, for starters, like I said, it shows icons beside your ally's nameplate to show you their cooldown timers and stuff. You can adjust how big those icons appear by font size, or how many appear on a row here on this character, on this sheet here under the general thing. However, one thing that's very important to note is I only show my allies' spells in arena and in dungeons. That way it doesn't, like I said, clutter up my screen during a raid. So you can check that here under visibility. But the juicy stuff is, how do you select what to track? So for example, maybe you don't care about tracking, like for monks, for example, you don't care about tracking your Brewmaster Monk's Celestial Brew. You can simply come here into Dungeons, under the Visibility tab, right under the Visibility tab, come here into Dungeons and uncheck that. And then now all of a sudden your Brewmasters, you will not see their Celestial Brew. So you can do that for any of the classes. Just come here to like Priest. If I don't care about seeing my Priest PI timer, I can just uncheck that box wherever it is, Power Infusion here. So that's how you like take away spells that are going to be showing or that you're going to be tracking, because you don't want to over track. You don't want to track every spell a player has. Like, I don't need to track every Halo, Evangelism, Holy Word, Sanctify. I don't need to track that. Just track the important stuff. And the way that I have it set up, if you do download what I have anything that helps you as a healer. So like Vampiric Embrace is an excellent thing to track, because it'll help you know when your Shadow Priest will be able to help you with off healing. But also, I have all of the tanks' defensives tracked, and all of the DPS's main damage button, just in case you do need to know when to PI them. But I also have every defensive track. So Desperate Prayer, it's so good to know when your priest is going to be able to, make themselves tankier. That way you don't have to worry about them dying to a bleed or something, or to a tank slam. Or a boss slam. But yeah, you can just click through here and see that I have every important spell to track. If I'm not healing, I'll be able to track my healers Chi-Ji or Yu'lon. But if I am healing, I can track my Windwalker's Zwin. That way I know when they're going to be doing big damage. But I also track all the defensives, things like that. So if you ever need to check or uncheck, or maybe you want to track your Druid's Flourish, that's how you do that. You just come here under Dungeons, or if you're tracking things in Arena, you come to Arena and add spells under the Spells column here. But that is OmniCD. It is excellent and allows you to predict how much damage your allies are going to take, because you can see when their defensives are going to be available, and know it can help you make really snap decisions if you need to pop 2 cooldowns versus just 1, or if you need to waste Life Cocoon on someone even though they just popped like 2 defensives. It's great to know. So that's OmniCD, and it is excellent. Now for Plater, like I said, this allows you to tweak and adjust how enemy nameplates look. So I'll fly to the room where all the bad guys are, and show you guys how I have this plater profile set up. Now, I did import one from another YouTuber, so shout out to Galia TV. I have their profile available here. However, the reason why I included this section in the video, although I don't know much about plater, well, hold on, let me just show you. So slash plater allows you to open up the menu. You see here, it is so daunting. There is so much to learn. And if you want to see me, delve more into plater, I'll make a part 2 to this video where I'll spend a lot of time learning every in and out of this add-on. But for now, I'm just going to show you one extremely important thing to track as a healer, which, by the way, you see here all the nameplates. They're different colors based on how threatening the enemy is. If an enemy has a really important cast to kick, I have the profile set up to where it'll show it as a different color, like a red. That way you know this is a highly important mob to track. But the only reason why I'm adding plater in here is if you are a healer and you do use plater, which I highly recommend, come to the cast bar, like click on cast bar, and then you really want to check this box, show target name. It is so life-changing as a healer. If you don't use this, just check this box, run a few dungeons, and then come back and tell me how much your life has changed. All that this box does under cast bar, show target name, is whenever I'm fighting an enemy, say I'm fighting this training dummy, and then say that he starts to do some kind of cast. So the archers in Nako defensive, they cast shoot. They shoot one of your allies at random. You as the healer, if you don't have this box ticked, you won't know who that shoot is going to. It could be hitting your priest, it could be hitting you, it could be hitting your druid, you don't know. But with this box ticked, hopefully I'll have some gameplay footage showing right now, but with this box ticked, it'll show you who the target is, who is getting shot at, who this cast is going for. And that way you as the healer know to like pre-apply a defensive and an external defensive, or just go ahead and start casting like one of your spot heals, like a regrowth on that target to kind of hit right after that shoot damage hit. So it's very important, once again, to help you predict when the damage is going to come, who it's going to hit, and how you can heal it. And also combine that with how important OmniCD is, you can see who that damage is going to hit, and if they have a defensive popped, or if they have a defensive available, or a self-heal button, like maybe your Mistweaver or one of your allies has like an expel harm or one of their self-healing buttons that they can heal up right after that happens. I think hunters have a really good example, like exsanguinate or extinguish or something like that. But it's just really good. Those two bits of information are excellent and can take your healing to the next level. But those are kind of like the extra things that aren't as important, but really can change your life for just some quick fixes if you don't use either of those add-ons. However, these next few ones aren't just quality of life improvements or making healing easier. These are almost necessary to heal. I kid you not, these next three are so important, and I don't see how you could heal without all three of these, or at least a substitute for them. So I'm talking, of course, about Clique, Grid 2, and Weakauras. All three of them are extremely powerful and honestly not that complicated. Weakauras can get complicated, but it's not that complicated. So let's start off with Clique. Now, what does Clique do? Once again, it allows you to mouse over spells very easily. And you can make a macro in the game that just says like, let's see, cast... Well, let me just do that. You can make a mouse over macro that just says like /cast at mouse over target or something. You can do that for every spell that you plan to cast at. You can tell I don't do that. I don't use mouse over macros ever. Instead, I use Clique. It just does it for me. So how Clique works is once you have it installed, in your spell book, you're going to have an extra tab called Clique Binding Configuration. You click on that tab, it's like a little Santa hat, and it opens up this menu, and here is where you get to bind your spells to a button. So you see here, I have Soothing Mist bound to my 5 click bound button. Now, I want to show you something. I'm going to press 5, the number 5 on my mouse twice. Once, I'm going to hover over my own health bar, and then once again, I'm not going to hover over any of I'm not going to mouse over anyone's health bar. So I'm going to hover over and press 5. It's going to cast Soothing Mist because it's click bound to do so. And then I'm going to hover over nothing, click 5 once again. It casts Jadefire Stomp. So this just shows you how powerful Clique can be because I have two abilities bound to the same button. And as you can imagine, that saves me a lot of space on these bars down here. You notice Soothing Mist is not down here. Maybe it is, but it's not on a numbered button. It's because I have it bound through Clique and not through my bars. So it's very powerful. I have the same thing for like, let's see, 8. If I hover over my nameplate or one of my allies' nameplates and click 8, it's going to cast Vivify. However, you notice here down here on my bars, I have my trinket bound to 8. So if I don't hover an ally and I press 8, it's going to pop Fyrax. If I hover over an ally, it's going to cast Vivify. Same for a lot of these things. You'll notice my Chi-Ji and Yulon are both on my 6 button, wherever they might be. Chi-Ji right here, 6, but so is Enveloping Mist. So you'll notice if you ever go back and watch one of my raid videos, I take my mouse off of my plates to summon Yulon, and I press 6, and then I put it right back on a nameplate and start casting Enveloping Mist, all while pressing the same button. It's just a way to save space and bind certain things to the same button. But how do you actually bind a spell? So say that we wanted to bind Detox, because you'll notice here I guess I do have Detox, but let's delete this. Say that I wanted to click bind Detox. That way I just have to hover over one of my allies, click the button that I have it bound to, and it'll dispel them. How would I do that? All you do is click bind spell, come over here to your spell book and hover over the spell that you want to bind, and then press the button that you want to bind it to. So once again, we clicked bind spell. We are now in click binding mode, meaning that if we click any of our buttons while hovering over any of these icons, it's going to click bind them to that button. So I'm going to press my dispel button while hovering over Detox, and you see there, it's bound to my dispel button. So if I hover over myself, press that button, I cast Detox on myself. So Clique is such a quality of life improvement for allowing you to save on keybound slots, because once again, Zen Pulse does not have its own keybind. You'll notice it is bound to the same button as Chi Burst. If I press Control+1, I'll either shoot Chi Burst, or if I'm hovering over an ally, I'll Zen Pulse. So I press Control+1, Chi Burst, press Control+1 while hovering over someone or mousing over, it's Zen Pulse. So hopefully that's enough examples, but it can give you such a quality of life improvement on your keybinds, but also it makes healing so much easier. If I need to swap between targets, I can just hover over their health bars, casting Enveloping Mist on each of them, and just boom, 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 get it out really quick instead of having to click and set them as my target and cast that way, the OG way to heal. So Clique is incredible. Now, what I like to pair with Clique is my nameplate add-on, which is Grid 2. A lot of people, once again, they use other add-ons for their nameplates or just for their UI in general. Some people even use the default UI, which is fine for nameplates. You can get it to work pretty nicely. But I like Grid 2 because it's very easy to use and I'm used to it. And if you like Grid 2 and like my profile, once again, come to this Discord, come to this channel, My UI, and you can find my Grid 2 profile, copy and paste it, and you can import it. Let's see, /grid 2, you can import it under General, Profiles, and then down here, click Import, Export, Import Profile, and then you just paste that long chunk of text here, and then you'll have my profile available. However, one important thing to know is how to actually use Grid 2. How can we set it up? How do you add spells? Because, for example, recently they made it to where Chi Harmony is a new buff. They added an entirely new buff. So they always are doing this. Like, different things are changing in the game that you want to track as a healer or track it on your bars. For example, Chi Harmony is a great example, but also Evoker. When they added Evokers into the game, I had to completely revamp my grid profile to now show Evoker spells. So like when I play on my Evoker, you see Dream Breath somewhere on here. I track all of my HOTS, all of my buffs that are important. But say that I wasn't tracking something like uh, Life Cocoon, for example, and you guys wanted to add Life Cocoon, or maybe they added a new spell or a new buff that you wanted to track. How would you add that? Well, let me show you. So how to add it is kind of weird. You first have to show Grid 2 that the spell exists. So you have to teach Grid 2 a new status. This is just how I think of it. Maybe I'm just oversimplifying, but you have to teach Grid 2 a new status. So you come down here to statuses, which will open up all these drop downs, but then we're going to teach them a new buff. So let's say that we're trying to teach the game that the buff Life Cocoon exists. So we're going to then type in, we're going to click on buff. We're then going to type in Life Cocoon, and you see there it pops up. I'm glad because I still misspell Life Cocoon every time I cast it or type it. Oh my goodness, I wasn't pressing create. Okay, so now that we have it added, we typed it in, pressed create, and now we have it here. Now we can set it where we want to on the nameplate itself. So for me, I have it set right there. Whenever someone's Life Cocooned, you see it right there. But what if you wanted it like right down here, for example, the bottom left? You can then change its indicator. Grid 2 is indicating to you, the player, that this player has this buff, is basically how I like to think of it. So you come here to indicators after selecting which buff you want to move around on your bars, and we can just then click these and check it and see if we like this position. So here, let's do bottom left. Bottom left, where's bottom left? Bottom left one. This is the very bottom left one. So you see here, whenever I Life Cocoon someone, I guess this is a bad example because Life Cocoon is on cooldown, but if I Life Cocoon them, now it'll be on the bottom left. Let's click Life Cocoon. You'll see I have this one that I just applied, but then I also have this new icon that we just created. So I have icon bottom left showing. I also have the icon that I already had in the game showing. So that's how you select where to put it. But now I'll show you how to remove one. Say you did not want to track this buff. Like for me, I'm already tracking Life Cocoon, so this one that we just made on the video is useless. It's just redundant. How to basically turn it off is you just come here to the load tab under it and you click never. So you see here I'm tracking it, and if we click never, we're never going to be tracking it. That's just how to get rid of it, basically. So that is Grid 2. So I have two separate themes. I have one for my dungeon, which you'll notice is like right here in the center of my screen, up and down. And then I have my raid loadout, which is right here in the center, or like over here on the left of the screen. However, if you're someone who likes to have yours in the dead center of your screen, how do you change the position of where these are located, or even the size of these boxes themselves? Well, let's come here. I'm going to be adjusting my dungeon one. If you want to slide this across your screen, like maybe you want it on the right side of your screen or in the center, all you would do is just change under appearance, layout disposition, where they are. So then if you want it central, you just put it here. You know, you just slide this bar until it's in the position that you want. Same with vertical position. You can slide it. It'll slide up and down with this slider, but we're going to put it right back where I had it. I think it was 640 because I like that position. I like that for me. You can do the same with your raid. You can slide it down using the same thing, layout disposition. If you're in a raid group, you can adjust where they're located. But just for the purpose of this video, that'll do. That'll allow you to move these on your screen. But how do you move the size of this? Like if you wanted these wider, say you wanted it to take up more of your screen, you wanted it wider, or you wanted it taller, that's fine too. How do you do that? All you do is look here where it says frame width, frame height. Say you want it to be a thick boy, you just turn both of these up, boom, it is thick. Or you just adjust accordingly to the size that you want. I think I had it on 80, and honestly I'll have to watch it back of where I had this. Maybe I don't know, 40 sounds right. But yeah, you can adjust the size of each individual frame and then where the frames are under the layout disposition of whichever theme you're trying to change. But that is Grid 2. It's incredibly helpful. It's very easy to use. However, once again, I know a lot of people prefer to use ElvUI because it's kind of more invasive. It just changes everything. You can get rid of all these bars and change up everything. I just have never used ElvUI. I like Grid 2. It's simple. Keep it simple, stupid. All right, now let's move on to Weakauras, which is probably the most scary One, a lot of people are terrified of Weakauras. They just copy someone else's, but I promise you, you will have a great time making your own Weakaura package. I made this one. I love it. I tweak it every time that I add like a new button. Like when I got Fyrax, I made a new icon for it. When I started using White Tiger Statue, I made a new icon for it. Weakauras are excellent. And if you want my Weakaura package, once again, it's here available. Let's see. My Weakauras are down here. You scroll down, boom. They're right here. Mistweaver UI, LB Ninja 7 updated. Or if you just want to see any Weakauras, if you just want to scroll through a bunch of them, there's a really good website. Sorry for the flashbang, but the website is called wago.io. And this is kind of like a database that stores all the Weakauras. So say that you wanted a Holy Paladin Weakaura set, at least to start with. You can come and see what's already made, right? You can just type in Holy Paladin and scroll down. There's this one guy, Luxnos, I think he's a streamer. He makes really popular ones that are really good. Or if you want to see anything that I've posted, like you can start with any of these, pick your favorite. And this is just if you want to kind of be lazy like I used to be. Or if you want to see anything that I've published, you just type in LB Ninja 7, and it will take you to anything that I've ever published. So a lot of different stuff. I don't know why I'm popping up here. Oh, look, one of my viewers said Cloud of Focus ramp guide, or based off of my guide. That's pretty cool. But you can see my Druid one is there. My Disc Priest one is there. All of my stuff is here. Yeah, so that's how to use this website. It's very simple. And all you do is you click here and you copy the import string, and once again this will copy that long string of text. And if you want to import a Weakaura, you just click here in the game under the Weakaura details screen and click import and then paste, and then boom, you import as a copy. I already have it, so it's saying as a copy, but this is how you import a Weakaura. But this is just my Weakaura. You guys can download this and you guys can import it if you want to. I want to show you how I made it. We're going to try to start from scratch and just show you the basic building blocks of getting started. But let's turn off, let's click this eye. You can toggle, once again, toggle the visibility of a certain Weakaura. So if I wanted to see where the position of something is, like say I'm trying to adjust where my manatee is, and I would want to base it off of where the Touch of Death and the Thunder Focus Tea and Shayloon's Gift are. You can just toggle everything off and then toggle like Shayloon's Gift, Touch of Death, and Manatee and Thunder Focus Tea. You can just toggle what you see basically and then adjust from there. But let's start from scratch. So how I make these Weakaura packages is I do the same thing every time. So you're going to start a new Weakaura. And when you click New Aura, you're going to get a couple of different options. The two that we're looking at here are Group and Dynamic Group. Now, I always make mine a basic group, but dynamic groups are very cool too. For example, what a dynamic group is say that this is my Weakaura set. If I were to just untalent or talent out of Jade Fire Stomp, then if it were a dynamic group, if that row of all those icons was a dynamic group, when I take that talent away, they would all collapse in and it would just be 5 icons with no dead space in between. However, if you just have a group, it's not dynamic. It doesn't change or change how it looks based on the circumstances. Then there will just be dead space here. And there's upsides and downsides to each of them. I personally like the basic group, although it doesn't collapse in when I untalent out of something. So sometimes there's dead space. What you can do is just when you talent out of Jade Fire Stomp, I always know if I talent out of Jade Fire Stomp, I'm basically talented into my raid build, and I know that there's like Yu'lon, for example. I know it's right here, but you can put Yu'lon in its place, for example. But let's just start. Let's start with a group. Let's start a brand new group. New aura. Let's start a group, and let's delete this one too. Just get out of the way. Okay, so this is our new group. We just started it, but now we need to add icons and stuff. We need to add stuff to this group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this empty group. I'm going to click Weak Aura, and I always start with my health in mana bars. So I'm going to make a progress bar, and that's going to be our health bar. We can adjust where it is on the screen because we have it selected. And let's go ahead and change the names of these. So let's do like the group as a whole is going to be like Mistweaver set for YouTube. You know, something like, you can just change it to whatever you want. But then this is going to be our health bar. So I'm going to change it to my HP bar. So that's the title of it. It doesn't mean anything. It's just the title of this, so we can kind of search for it. We can look for like my Mistweaver set or my HP bar here. So let's change this. Let's make it bigger. I like my HP bar to be bigger. We're going to come down to the display tab while selecting the HP bar icon or progress bar. You can scroll down here to position settings. Click this and you can adjust the width and the height. Let's make it wider, so let's do like 270, and then let's make it thicker. Let's do like 40. Let's do 40. Let's make it a thick health bar. So that is your HP bar. You can also change the color of it right here under bar color / gradient start. So we're just gonna do a color instead of a gradient. Gradient basically makes it fade between colors. So you can make it like, let's do a gradient really quick. You can make it from blue to like baby blue or something. But we're just gonna do one singular bar. And let's do our HP is gonna be green because we're a Mistweaver. We like a green HP bar. Boom. So that's what our bar is gonna look like. However, right now it's just a bar. It is just a bar. It doesn't track anything. It doesn't actually track our HP. How do we make it track our HP? Well, we come to change what this bar triggers from. What triggers this bar to work? We want it to work based on our HP. So we are going to change the trigger to be our personal HP. How do you do that? The type of trigger is going to be player / unit info. It's going to be data that's collected from the info about us, the player. So player / unit info, and then boom, it already automatically applies it to health. There you go. But now let's, and you see there that's our health right there. Is we have, dang, we have 1,000,000 health. That's nice. But now let's make a mana bar. And I am, well, first actually, let's add a border to this to make it look clean. Let's add a border. You can scroll down here all the way under the display tab to add border. And that's a good thickness. I like that thickness. But let's change the color to, let's make it black, a nice black border. Boom. So that is our health bar completed. But now let's move on to our mana bar. It's a little bit more involved. It has like a weird wording, but that's fine. That's what I'm here for. So this is going to be my mana bar. All right. So this one, right now it's in the same position since we just copied our HP bar. It's in the same position as our mana bar. So we can either just manually click it and drag it to the position that we want to, or we can just move it down. And let's turn on the visibility of that HP bar so we can see relatively where our mana bar is. And we can just click these arrows and slowly adjust 1 pixel at a time where it's at. Let's have it spaced. Let's have it spaced like that. Let's have like a thin little space between it. All right, but now we want it to track our mana. First things first, I don't want my mana bar as tall as my health bar, so I like to come down here to the display, the position settings, and change the height. Let's make that height like 20. Let's make it half as tall. Boom, so that's our mana bar, and let me readjust its position. All right, so that's our mana bar. But let's change the color to make it more mana-esque. So we're gonna change the color of it up here to bar color, and let's just make it blue. I like my mana bars blue. So bam, we have a health bar and a mana bar, but you'll notice they're both tracking our health. So if I were to take like 100 damage, both of these numbers would go down by 100. So once again, we have to change what is triggering this bar to do its job. And so instead of tracking player unit info health, we're going to track player unit info power. Now, as a healer, our power is our mana, but as like a windwalker, your energy is your power. As like an affliction warlock, you have mana, but you also have, what are they, soul shards or something like that. But we're going to track our power, and you see here, once we swapped it to power, that is the amount of mana that we have. So let's see. I know when I close out of the Weakauras menu, we're going to have our other Weakauras active. So let me turn those completely off. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it to where my Mistweaver UI, this big one that I've already made, will not load. So I'm going to click on that group. I'm going to click load, and I'm just going to say it's only going to load when I'm in combat. That way, since I'm out of combat, it's not in our way. But let's get back to Weakauras/WA, and now let's add icons. Let's add icons to the set that we're making. Let's see. Let's add icons to this group that we're working on right here. It's the same way. It's how we made our progress bars. We're going to click on that group, click New Aura, and then we're going to click on Icon. And once again, this is just a basic icon. It's not tracking anything, but I kind of want my icons to be below these health bars. So let's put them here. Once again, you can drag around, or you can click these little arrows to move where its position is. And then also you'll notice that this icon is very big. You can drag the corner to make it a certain size. So let's make it like 49 by 49. Or if you want to change the size of this icon, you can come here once again to display the display tab while selecting that Weakaura and do its position settings, changing its width. Let's make it 45 by 45, a perfect square, but it's going to be 45 pixels, tall and wide. And let's track our Rising Sun Kick. That's a good first one to start off with. So we're going to name this Rising Sun Kick, Rising Sun Kick. But once again, this is not actually changing anything. It's just titling it Rising Sun Kick so that you can keep track of it. But we want to, once again, change what triggers this icon to work. What is feeding this icon its information? So we're going to go under the trigger tab once again, and we are going to change the trigger to be, instead of an aura, it's going to be a spell. We want this icon to track a spell, and we're going to change what spell it tracks under here, under the spell thing. We're going to type in Rising Sun Kick, Rising Sun Kick. You can also type in their spell IDs if you know it, or if you want to grab it, but here we're just typing Rising Sun Kick, and you see there already the icon shows Rising Sun Kick. Let's once again add a border just to keep things consistent. Add a border, and let's change that border color to black again, and boom, that is our first icon. Oops, hold on. So right now we have it feeding the information from the spell Rising Sun Kick, so that the icon works. However, we need to make this actually load while we're on our Mistweaver. So let's click on this group as a whole. Let's click the Load tab. And this is how you can change when you want these to actually show up on your screen. So I want my Mistweaver UI to show while I'm alive. I want it to show, let's see, while I'm on my Mistweaver monk. So where is that? Class and spec. So it's going to load depending on what class and spec I'm playing, and we can just select Mistweaver Monk down here. So now whenever I'm on my Mistweaver Monk, any of these icons are going to load except for, oh, I know what it is. So you'll notice here, while we're editing it, while we're in the Weakaura editing menu, you see the icon, but when we click out of it, the icon disappears. And that's because when you first make an icon, and you first make an icon for a spell, it says that you only want it to show while that spell is on cooldown, but we want to track it always, while it's on cooldown and while it's available to be used. So let's go in here into the training dummy room, and let's Rising Sun Kick something. Oh boy. So if I come up to this training dummy and I Rising Sun Kick, you'll see it shows while it's ready to use and while it's on cooldown. Also, I like to make mine to where instead of darkening as the cooldown becomes available, I like to make mine lighten as they become available. So instead of starting off as fully lit up and then, as this ticks away, it darkens, I like to change that. So we're going to inverse that. Instead of darkening as it becomes available, we're going to make it lighten. So we're going to click on this icon here, and under display, we're going to click inverse. So it's going to inverse the direction of the progress. So once again, if I do this, it's going to start out all dark and then lighten up as it becomes available. So we're going to Rising Sun Kick, and you see it is all dark and the light is what's actually opening up. So that is how I make an icon. But then once again, you can just basically copy and duplicate this icon for every spell that you have, basically, which is how I make all mine. So we're going to duplicate it. And for this duplicated, we're just going to call it blackout kick. So, or I guess just, yeah, BO kick YouTube. And so here we have one, our rising sun kick one. I like where that one is. We're going to keep it where it is, and we're going to toggle it on to where we can see it while editing. But for this blackout kick, we're going to just slowly adjust it to the right, put it where I want it on the screen, and right about there. I want that thin little space between, because I like that. But now we once again have to change what spell triggers this icon, what information this icon is going to be gathering from. So trigger, we want to change it to blackout kick. So blackout kick, boom. And you see there, I have one icon that shows for rising sun kick, one icon that shows from blackout kick. I'm going to rising sun kick, I'm going to blackout kick. They're both on cooldown. Boom. Now we have our core. That's our core. We're fully Fistweavers now. But you can just do that. You can duplicate for every spell you have and make all your icons. However, one thing that's worth noting is as you start to add icons for every spell, it's very important to group them together, to group like spells together. So let me pull up my old Mistweaver one, which I have to never load. So if we toggle our Mistweaver one on again and we load it, let's just load it. So that's our Mistweaver one, our original one. You'll notice that I have a lot of like spells grouped together. So I have all three of my CC spells grouped together, and I have my Ring of Peace and Leg Sweep right next to each other because they're AoE CC. Same for defensive. So here I have all three of my defensives right beside each other. Let me turn off the one that we just made. Oh boy. So let's make this load. Never load. All right, so you'll notice I have all of my cooldowns right next to each other. Shaylin's Gift, Revival are right next to each other. Same with Chi-Ji/Yulon, and same with Jadefire Stomp. All of these are right next to each other. And yeah, try to keep like things together. So like movement abilities right next to each other. Both of my T's right next to each other. It's very important, and it allows your eyes. If I need a defensive, I know where to look. It's like all down here in the same spot is where my eyes go to if I need a defensive. Same with this trinket. I put it down here next to my defensives. And then like utility buttons are right here. So that is how to make a Weakauras package. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll have one that you are as happy as I am with. And it's literally that simple. All I did was make progress bars, add a border to them, and then make icons, add borders to them. It's really that easy. But now you guys have the tools to make a Weakauras package yourself, and hopefully now you all have the tools to make your UI as you want it yourself. Once again, all of this stuff is going to be available for download for you in my Discord. That way you have at least a place to start off with if you don't want to start from scratch making all of these profiles. But I am totally fine if you take my stuff and build off of it and then share with it. Like some people have shown me in my chat what they've done with my Weakauras package and made it their own kind of thing. But that is how you do it. Guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope that I was able to give you all the information that you were looking for. However, I know that with Weakauras especially, there's always these small things that you want to look up how to change. Like for example, how do I make an icon glow, or how do I add a border to this? So if you have questions like that, leave them down below and I'll make sure and answer them, and hopefully we can, between this video and the comments, make a more detailed explanation of how to make these things work for you. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting this channel. Hopefully I'm able to help you as much as you helped me by just simply watching this video. However, if you want to help me further, and liking this video goes a very, very long way. So please click that button. And also, if you are not subscribed, click that button as well. It's a free thing on YouTube. Subscribing is free, but it helps me, the YouTuber, out a ton. Now, I'm trying to run a very small channel here, a Mistweaver channel. There's not many of us left, so I'd really greatly appreciate that. Also, shout out to the guys on the screen right now, because these are the patrons of the channel. And if you want to join them and support the channel like they have, there are plenty of tiers to do so. Just click on that Patreon link down in the description below to check out all the tiers that are available to you. But once again, shout out to the patrons. You guys are amazing. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. I have talked long enough. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.